Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in the Going Deep segment brought to you by CO2 Lift in our Expert on the Microphone series, today we're joined by Dr. Jerry Chidester, also known as Dr. Chiddy. He's a board-certified plastic surgeon and the founder of the Plastics Clinic and Spa and High Point Surgery Center in Draper, Utah, which is basically Salt Lake City. He's known for blending innovative surgical techniques with a fresh, authentic social media presence. Now, Dr. Chiddy has grown a loyal following by educating and empowering patients through transparency, storytelling, and a little bit of fun. After leaving his first job early in his career to build his own practice from the ground up, he's since become a national speaker on branding, social media, and the modern aesthetics practice. Whether he's in the OR or on TikTok, Dr. Chiddy is all about real talk, real transformations, and helping refine what it means to be a plastic surgeon in today's world. He's going to join us right now to chat all about the world of social media as a medical professional, navigating the medical board red tape, and how to show up authentically while still maintaining patient trust. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Hey, Zen. Thank you so much for having me.
So I'm going to dive right in. You've mastered the world of social media, but you're balancing your plastic surgery career and actually finding a both authentic and entertaining way to really blend those two worlds. And that's no easy feat. So since starting, you built a strong online following. Was that intentional or did it just grow organically from your day-to-day as a doctor? Like, fill me in here.
It definitely grew organically and over time. I think when I started using social media to help educate my patients and the public back in like 2018, 2019, I had no idea what I was doing. I think a lot of people were just trying to figure out, navigate, what platforms like Instagram and then later TikTok could do. And it evolved for me. So originally I was just showing befores and afters, trying to, show people my work. But then I realized a lot of patients really, there were a lot of walls and stigmas about plastic surgery. And so I started to educate more and more about the nuances of what we do, why we do tummy tucks, why are we doing breast lifts, breast reductions, and really just trying to educate and empower people. And I think because of that and the way I went about doing it, it really drew a certain crowd. And it's been a great platform to really help, again, break down those walls. And it's been amazing.
And I know, and you've done such a great job at maintaining both that online presence and still maintaining that professionalism and following the guidelines. And I know whether you're in the OR or on TikTok, you're all about real talk, real transformations, and really helping refine what it means to be a plastic surgeon in today's world. And with such a strong presence, both online and in the clinic, I imagine there can be some differences between those two worlds, to say the least. So do you feel any kind of pressure to perform online differently than how you show up in the clinic?
I think one thing that actually patients will mention when they come in and actually meet me after seeing me online is they say that I'm the same in person as I am online. I have a lot of energy. And so that's just how I am on Instagram. I do dances because it's fun for me. But then when they meet me in person, it's the same level of energy and personality. I feel like I'm not trying to sell somebody something to then give them something else when they meet me. I'm just trying to be myself and be authentic, like you said. And I think, and that's the hardest part, I think, for surgeons in general. You talk about kind of redefining what does it mean to be a plastic surgeon on social media nowadays. It's really finding your own voice and finding who you are and then being able to portray that on social media so that people can gain that trust in you. And then when you educate and teach them, they trust what you're saying, and it really, again, empowers them to make the right decisions for themselves.
Yeah. Now let's chat about the online posting guidelines as a doctor. So with more doctors showing up on social media, it makes you wonder just how much freedom you actually have online. So are there guidelines from the medical board around what's acceptable for doctors to post, or are you just expected to use common sense?
I actually love this question. You bring it up. The interesting thing is that all the different, so there's like state medical boards, right? Like in New York State, Utah State, we have our own medical boards, and they don't have really specific guidelines for that. But it comes down to more of our specialties. So me as a plastic surgeon, being a member of, a full member of the American Society of Plastic Surgeons and the Aesthetic Society, they have ethical guidelines, and those will include things like, what to do and post on social media that are safe and ethical. And so I definitely adhere to those. And I've actually been a part of committees that have helped shape those to really, we want to put the best thing out there for patients, but make sure the information is accurate, that we're not exaggerating things, but that we're, again, empowering patients. So yeah, it's really dependent on what specialty you're in. And so then you have some specialties who don't regulate it. And there's a lot of non-plastic surgeons doing plastic surgery. They're not regulated by those same ethical codes. And so sometimes you get misinformation from those different doctors because they're not held to the same standards.
That makes sense. Now let's flip the script and look at this from the patient's perspective. So trust is everything in both the medical world and online. How do you draw the line between a paid endorsement and a genuine recommendation? And why is that distinction so important for your followers and even your future patients?
That is huge. I actually talked about this with my wife all the time. We talk about, because I get approached a lot by different companies and they say, hey, can you promote this product or whatever? And number one, I think if you're going to obviously promote anything, you have to follow the federal, Trade Commission guidelines, FTC guidelines. You have to disclose that you're being sponsored by someone. So that's number one. But two, for me, I've been very selective, like very, very selective on anything that I advertise. Honestly, I try not to use my platform to advertise products, and I don't typically do sponsorships because I don't want patients to feel like I'm trying to sell them anything. I don't. I try to educate online, and then patients can make that decision for themselves of what they want. And so, there's this kind of blurry line between being a online plastic surgery surgeon presence and being an influencer. And I'd rather always pick that being a plastic surgeon, being true to what I believe is going to be the best for patients and not worry about sponsorships and push those types of products. That's just my personal thing. I know there's a lot of really good surgeons out there who are sponsored and they'll just put a disclaimer on that and they do a great job. So that's just my personal take on it.
That's a great take on it. Thank you for your honesty and transparency. That's so important. And on the topic of genuine product recommendations, let's chat about CO2 Lift. So as we know, CO2 Lift is a topical carboxy gel mask with both monotherapy and combo therapy benefits post-procedure. Dr. Chidi, I know you're familiar with the product. How do you incorporate it into your treatment plans, and how have you firsthand seen it improve a patient's results and recovery?
Yeah, I do a ton of breast and body surgery. That's my main focus. We have an aesthetic spa as well, where our estheticians like to use the CO2 lift for the face and other areas to help hydrate the skin and make it look really nice. But for me, surgically speaking, when I'm doing breast and body liposuction or breast lifts, I actually will apply it immediately after surgery. We're still in the operating room and we'll create the carboxy gel, we'll spread it out. And I really love it because I do think it actually brings oxygen to the tissues. And, when we're doing a tummy tuck or liposuction or even a breast lift, we're having to cut skin and tissue and we're actually disrupting blood flow to skin and tissue. So we want as much blood flow as we can to help that heal and heal safely. So I've actually used carboxy, the CO2 gel, for quite a while now to put it on all my patients. I've seen the bruising improve significantly, a lot quicker than I did when I wasn't using it. I've used it on breast surgery. So after anyone gets a breast lift, a lot of times we'll use the CO2 gel just to help promote blood flow to the area, help again with bruising. So I've actually been really happy with the product. And that's why, I've been working with the company because I really do see the benefits for my patients with it.
Truly proprietary. And the science is the science. They have a bunch of clinicals and a whole bunch of trials that they have partaken in, and you're not the only one endorsing them firsthand. We have a lot of top, triple board certified, from cosmetic surgeons to OBGYNs to dermatologists, backing everything you're saying. It reminds me of something a fellow of yours said, Dr. Hoyos. He said it's the equivalent of a hyperbaric oxygen chamber, but who can afford to get to one and displace yourself, right? So he's like, this is what that mask does, and it's really, truly proprietary. Now, shifting back to the social media world, with such a strong online presence, you make yourself accessible to more than just your pre-existing patients. Do you ever get DMs or comments from followers asking for opinions or assessments about their own cases and work? And what are the legal differences between giving general education versus specific medical advice online? And how can a doctor really stay on that safe side of that line?
Yeah, no, totally. I get a lot of questions in my DMs. I do Q&As. And so a lot of the Q&As are very general, because it's always anonymous. But yeah, I get a lot of DMs and patients who have had surgery elsewhere or who are wanting surgery, and they're from all over the country, and so I never utilize that platform as a way to do a consultation. So I don't use Instagram and things. It's not protected, private. So, always follow HIPAA guidelines. So anytime someone's inquiring or wants to learn more very specific to them, I will refer them to my office so we can establish a virtual or in-person consultation. So yeah, again, I think it's very important to, respect the doctor-patient relationship and those boundaries because they can get very blurred online, and so it's always important, again, I think as medical professionals, that we always adhere to the highest levels of standard of care as well as patient privacy.
Thank you so much for that. Again, transparency. I love that you keep it separate. I think many doctors do not, but what's more important, that's your intake. That's where you will find those patients that will be the right fit for your practice. And it's circling them back to the proper ways of interacting with you and getting that consultation, but not on social media, right? So it's great that it comes full circle. Now, before we wrap up here, social media is still a relatively new space for doctors. I mean, just a few decades ago, this kind of visibility wasn't even part of the job. In your experience, do you find the medical community supporting your social media work, or is there still a stigma surrounding doctors showing up in this way? And if so, if there is that stigma, how can we break it?
Yeah, when I first started utilizing social media for my plastic surgery practice, definitely there was a lot of pushback from a lot of different, even people in my own specialty. And I've seen that evolve over the last 5, 6, 7 years, where now a lot of doctors and people in my specialty realize like this is truly a platform we can utilize to educate our patients. And it's a great way, like you said, to build your presence, to actually obtain new patients through that platform. And so I've seen that really change over time. I was really worried at first, and it was hard to be myself, my own personality, because I didn't know, there weren't really any guidelines, even not too many years ago. It came full circle for me a couple of years ago. I think it was in 2023. I was awarded the inaugural annual American Society of Plastic Surgeons Social Media Award. It was their first inaugural award, and I got it for best overall, presence on social media. So that was kind of like, for me, it was nice to see that, because I had gotten a lot of flack for a few years. And again, I've always tried to maintain a high level of, ethics, and again, educate and not, do weird things on here. But so it was nice to see that. But it's been fun to see my colleagues who have now picked up and done social media. And it's really helping spread, I think, the word about plastic surgery, helping break down the stigmas of what we do on a day-to-day basis.
Well, we are at the end of this incredible interview. I can't thank you enough for coming on and educating us and really teaching us exactly what we should and should not be doing in front of the camera, and of course behind. Professionals listen to this all the time, and I know other experts are valuing this segment. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Zan.
That was our Going Deep segment, brought to you by CO2 Lift, and that was the incredible Dr. Chidi. You can learn more about his practice online at theplasticsclinic.com or on his website at Jerry, and I'm going to spell this one out, JerryChidesterMD.com. And of course, you can check him out on the gram at Dr. Chidi and at the Plastics Clinic. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. That was the Going Deep segment, brought to you by CO2 Lift. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CO2 Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2 Lift. CO2 Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home carboxytherapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase in luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance.
For more information or to order CO2 Lift, ask your skincare professional or go to co2lift.com.